From Hollywood stars to British legends, the UK is home to haunted places tied to famous names. Join us as we explore 11 ghostly locations linked to icons old and new. 1. Kate Blanchett and Highwell House. Nestled deep within the rolling hills of East Sussex, lies a grand estate with ivy-covered walls and sweeping gardens. Highwell House. A picture of English elegance, and for a time, the peaceful retreat of Academy Award-winning actress Kate Blanchett. Blanchett and her husband, playwright Andrew Upton, purchased the 13-bedroom country manor in 2016. Surrounded by 175 acres of forest and meadow, the property seems straight out of a Jane Austen novel. Tranquil, timeless, and rich with history. But Highwell House has long carried whispers of a darker past. The home dates back to the 17th century, and over the centuries, it's seen families rise and fall, fortunes shift, and, according to local folklore, more than one restless spirit. Neighbors and locals have shared stories of strange lights flickering in the woods late at night, of doors closing gently on their own, and even the faint sound of piano music drifting through the trees, long after the house was supposed to be empty. One former groundskeeper reportedly refused to walk the back garden paths after dusk, claiming he felt watched from the upper windows, even when no one was home. Despite these eerie tales, Kate Blanchett was said to adore the home. Known for her calm and reflective energy, Blanchett reportedly found the atmosphere of Highwell House deeply inspiring and even described the estate as one of the few places she could truly unwind. Perhaps she didn't mind sharing the space with a few ghosts from centuries past. Or maybe they simply left her alone. In 2023, the actress sold the property for a reported £3.5 million, but the stories linger. Some say the spirits grew quieter during her time there, as if her presence brought a calm to the old house. Others believe they're still watching from the windows, waiting for the next chapter to begin. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: Highwell House is more than just a celebrity estate. It's a living piece of history, steeped in elegance and just a touch of mystery. 2. Mary Queen of Scots Visitors Centre. In the charming Scottish borders town of Jedburgh, a small 16th century tower house stands quietly on a hillside. At first glance, it's just another historic building. Stone walls, wooden beams, and flowered gardens. But this place holds the memory of a queen, and, some believe, the lingering presence of her sorrow. Welcome to the Mary Queen of Scots Visitors Centre, once the residence of one of history's most tragic royals. In 1566, Mary Stuart, Queen of Scots, stayed here for just under a month. At the time, she was only 23 years old, beautiful, intelligent, and already burdened by the weight of political conflict. She had ridden 25 miles to visit her wounded lover, the Earl of Bothwell, and returned to this house shortly after, only to fall dangerously ill herself. It's said she nearly died within these very walls. The rooms today have been beautifully preserved, filled with relics, letters, and portraits that tell her story. But some visitors claim the past hasn't entirely left. Staff and tourists alike have reported cold drafts in rooms with sealed windows, the sudden scent of rosewater, Mary's favorite perfume, and even the sound of soft footsteps on the wooden stairs when no one else is around. One visitor claimed she felt a presence behind her in the chamber where Mary is believed to have slept. When she turned around, no one. But a candle she had been standing near had mysteriously gone out, though there was no breeze. Locals whisper that Mary's spirit returns to Jedburgh, because it was one of the last places she found peace before her life unraveled. After this brief stay, her world fell into chaos, betrayal, imprisonment, and eventually, her beheading at just 44 years old. And yet the house doesn't feel malevolent. If anything, it carries a profound sense of melancholy, as though it remembers her pain and keeps her company still. For those who visit, the centre offers more than just a glimpse into Tudor history. It's a rare chance to walk where Mary once walked, to feel the echoes of her presence, and perhaps to understand why her story continues to haunt Scotland to this day. Whether or not you believe in ghosts, one thing is clear. This is a place where history breathes, and where a queen's shadow still lingers. 3. Dunroin Castle. Rising above the North Sea like something from a storybook, Dunroin Castle is one of Scotland's most majestic landmarks. With its towering spires, manicured gardens, and sweeping views of the coast, it's easy to imagine it as the set of a fantasy film or the home of royalty. And in fact it is. Dunroin has been the ancestral seat of the Earls and Dukes of Sutherland for over 700 years, making it one of the oldest continuously inhabited houses in the country. But beneath its fairy tale beauty lies a darker, more tragic tale, one that has given the castle a reputation as one of the most haunted in the Highlands. The most well-known story is that of a young woman imprisoned in one of the castle's towers in the 15th century. She was the daughter of a local chieftain, and legend says she had fallen in love with someone deemed unsuitable by the powerful Earl of Sutherland. To prevent the relationship, the Earl locked her in the tower. But one night, desperate to escape and reunite with her lover, she tied sheets together and attempted to climb down from the window. She never made it. The makeshift rope tore, and she fell to her death on the stone below. Since then, visitors and staff have reported a series of strange occurrences in the castle. Whispering in empty hallways, icy chills in the stairwells, and most notably, the sound of sobbing coming from the upper rooms, especially at night. Some claim to have seen the outline of a young woman in a white gown, drifting silently past windows, even when no one was staying in that part of the castle. Yet despite the eerie tales, Dunroin doesn't feel frightening. In fact, many guests describe the castle's atmosphere as strangely peaceful, even serene, as if the spirits here are simply part of the place, woven into its fabric like the tartans of the clans that once ruled the Highlands. Today, Dunroin Castle welcomes thousands of visitors every year, offering tours, falconry displays, and a glimpse into centuries of Scottish history. But for those who pause a moment longer, who let the silence settle in those long, echoing corridors, there may be something more to feel. A presence, a memory, a quiet reminder that even the most beautiful places often carry the deepest stories. Dunroin Castle is not just a monument to the past, it may also be home to those who've never truly left. 4. King Arthur's Great Halls. In the coastal village of Tintagel, Cornwall, the name King Arthur is more than just legend. It's woven into the very stones of the town. And nowhere is that connection felt more deeply than inside the grand, echoing chambers of King Arthur's Great Halls. Built in the 1930s by Frederick Thomas Glasscock, the halls were designed not as a tourist attraction, but as a spiritual home for the Order of the Fellowship of the Knights of the Round Table, a group that believed in reviving the ideals of chivalry, honor, and unity. Step inside, and you'll find yourself surrounded by 72 stunning stained glass windows, each depicting scenes from Arthurian legend. The scent of old timber and stone lingers in the air. A round table dominates the center of the main hall, a replica of the one from the myths, and swords hang silently along the walls, waiting. But visitors say it's not just imagination or atmosphere that gives this place its power. Some speak of an overwhelming sense of presence in the halls, like being watched, not with malice but with silent judgment. Others report temperature drops near the windows or hearing footsteps when no one else is inside. On several occasions, guests have claimed to hear faint voices in Old English or Latin, as though the stories of Arthur and his knights are still being whispered from the walls themselves. One visitor described the sensation this way. It felt as though I had stepped out of time, like I was standing in a place that remembered a truth deeper than history. There are even those who believe the halls sit on a natural energy line, one of the so-called ley lines that ancient cultures believed connected sacred places across the earth. Whether mystical or not, the energy here is undeniable. But what makes King Arthur's great halls truly unique is the tone of reverence. Unlike haunted castles or cursed ruins, this is a place where the supernatural, if it exists, feels protective, even noble. Maybe that's what draws people back year after year, not fear, but wonder. In a world hungry for meaning and myth, King Arthur's great halls offers something rare, a space where legend feels just close enough to touch, and perhaps just real enough to believe. 5. The statue of Earl Mountbatton of Burma. In the peaceful town of Romsey, Hampshire, a solemn figure stands in bronze, uniformed, decorated, dignified. This is the statue of Admiral of the Fleet, Lord Louis Mountbatton of Burma, naval hero, last Viceroy of India, and a beloved member of the British royal family. To many, Mountbatton was a symbol of tradition and stability, the great uncle and mentor to King Charles III. But in 1979, his life was cut short in a moment that shook the nation. While on holiday in Ireland, Mountbatton's boat was bombed by the IRA. He was 79 years old. The attack also killed several of his family members, including 2 children. A wave of national mourning followed, and to this day, many say his presence, his energy, still lingers near Broadlands Estate, his former home, just a short walk from the statue. Gardeners at the estate have spoken of hearing footsteps on gravel paths early in the morning, only to find no one there. Guests have described sudden feelings of being watched when passing Mountbatton's former study, or feeling a chill when walking through the family chapel. But what makes this haunting different is its atmosphere. There's no malice, no fear, just a quiet heaviness, a noble sadness. Locals often stop by the statue to leave flowers on the anniversary of his death. Some claim they've felt an almost electric stillness in the air, like time pausing out of respect. A former serviceman once said, "When I stand before that statue, I feel like he's still watching over this country, not gone, just moved beyond." Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there's something powerful about places where memory feels alive, where loss doesn't fade but lingers with honor. And that's what this statue represents, not just a monument to a man, but a connection to a moment in history, still echoing quietly through the streets of Romsey. 6. Pinewood Studios. Tucked away in the quiet woodlands of Buckinghamshire lies a place that shaped decades of cinema. Pinewood Studios. From James Bond to Star Wars, Harry Potter to Marvel, this iconic British studio has been home to some of the world's biggest film productions. But behind the cameras, the lights, and the action, there are stories you won't find in the script. Pinewood was originally a private estate, dating back to the 19th century. During World War II, it was used by the Royal Air Force, and like many old sites touched by war and drama, it's said to have absorbed something more. One of the most frequently reported figures is known simply as the Grey Lady. She's been spotted drifting through the corridors of the older studio buildings, particularly near Stage C, where classic horror films were once shot. Described as wearing a long period gown, she vanishes the moment you try to approach. Veteran crew members have told tales of lights flickering without cause, props being mysteriously moved between takes, and the sound of footsteps pacing along catwalks overhead when the building is otherwise empty. During a night shoot for a historical drama, one production assistant claimed to see a man in full Victorian costume standing silently at the end of a hallway. Thinking he was an actor, she called out, but he didn't move. When she looked back a second later, he was gone. One longtime set builder put it this way: "You don't make this many ghost stories unless something's hanging around, you feel it, especially late at night when everything's quiet. It's like the place has memories of more than just movies." And perhaps that's the truth. Pinewood has witnessed explosions, sword fights, space battles, and emotional breakdowns, all captured on film. But maybe, just maybe, some echoes of those stories linger in the shadows between scenes. Today, Pinewood is a state-of-the-art studio, buzzing with creativity and cutting-edge tech. But when the sets are locked and the stages go dark, some say the real stories begin. Because in a place built for make-believe, who's to say the ghosts aren't just part of the show?
7.
Tomb of Richard Cabel. Hidden in the quiet village of Buckfastleigh, Devon, lies a tomb wrapped in legend and mystery, the tomb of Richard Cabel. To locals, it's not just a resting place for a 17th century squire, it's the heart of one of England's most enduring ghost stories. Richard Cabel was a man of wealth and power, known for his fierce temper and rumoured dark dealings. When he died in 1677, tales quickly spread that his soul would not rest easy. The tomb itself is surrounded by an unusual iron cage designed to keep his spirit confined. But despite this, locals for centuries have reported eerie happenings around the graveyard. On certain moonlit nights, people have heard unexplainable sounds, wild howls, dogs barking furiously into empty fields, and the rustle of unseen footsteps racing across the nearby moors. Some say the spirit of Cabel rides out, haunting the land he once ruled. Others believe the ghostly hounds, inspired by the famous Hound of the Baskervilles, are searching for him still. Visitors who brave the area often describe a sudden drop in temperature, a feeling of being watched, or glimpses of shadowy figures darting just beyond sight. But the story isn't only about fear. Over time, the community has embraced the legend with a sense of respect and even curiosity. The tale of Richard Cabel has become part of Devon's rich folklore, inspiring books, plays, and even a trail for ghost hunters and history lovers alike. It reminds us that every place, no matter how peaceful it seems, holds stories waiting to be told, stories of passion, mystery, and sometimes restless spirits. So, if you ever find yourself near Buckfastleigh on a foggy night, keep an ear open for the distant howls. You might just hear the echoes of Richard Cabel and his ghostly hounds running wild across the moors. A haunting tale, yes, but also a fascinating chapter in England's long and colourful history.
8.
Poole Stadium. Poole Stadium, located in Dorset, is one of the UK's most renowned speedway venues, famous for thrilling races and passionate fans. For generations, it has drawn crowds eager to witness feats of speed and skill, creating a vibrant community bound by adrenaline and loyalty. But beneath the excitement lies a history touched by tragedy and remembrance. Its legacy is not only built on moments of victory, but also marked by sacrifices, that remind us of the sport's inherent risks. On April 27, 1977, a heartbreaking event occurred during a match between the Poole Pirates and Reading teams. Young and talented rider Kevin Holden was involved in a fatal crash while attempting to overtake an opponent. Kevin lost control, sliding into the safety fence with devastating impact. The accident caused a rupture to his main artery, and tragically, he passed away at the scene. His death sent shockwaves through the speedway community, marking a dark day in Poole's sporting history. Sadly, Kevin's story was not alone. Other riders, including Johnny Thompson and Malcolm Flood, also lost their lives in accidents associated with Poole Stadium. To honor these legends, the Poole Pirates held a special memorial during their 70th anniversary, celebrating the courage, dedication, and spirit of those who risked everything for the sport they loved. These stories of loss and tribute add a profound layer of meaning to Poole Stadium, not just a place of competition, but a sacred ground of respect and remembrance. Visiting Poole Stadium today, you can still feel the electric energy of the races, along with a deep reverence for the riders whose legacy continues to inspire. Poole Stadium is more than a racetrack. It's a place where memories endure and heroes are never forgotten.
9.
Theatre Royal, Brighton. Nestled in the vibrant city of Brighton, the Theatre Royal has been a beacon for arts and entertainment since its opening in 1807. With its stunning Victorian architecture and rich history, it remains one of the UK's most cherished performance venues. But beyond the applause and bright lights, the theatre holds stories that whisper through its corridors. Stories of performers past, lingering spirits, and the magic that happens both on and off the stage. Many staff and visitors have reported encounters with a friendly, yet mysterious presence known affectionately as the Man in Black. Dressed in traditional Victorian attire, he's said to glide silently through the wings and upper balconies, watching over the performances with a calm and protective energy. Some say he's the spirit of a former actor who died tragically young, but loved the theatre so much he chose to stay. Others believe he might be an old stage manager, still ensuring that every show goes smoothly. Actors have spoken of feeling an encouraging hand on their shoulder before going on stage, or hearing soft applause in empty boxes. Audience members sometimes glimpse fleeting shadows or feel a gentle chill during quiet moments. Far from frightening, the presence at Theatre Royal Brighton seems to embody the very heart of theatre: dedication, passion, and a deep love for the craft. It reminds us that theatres aren't just buildings, they're living spaces filled with memories, creativity, and sometimes a touch of the supernatural. So next time you visit for a show, take a moment to look around. You might just feel the quiet watchfulness of the Man in Black, a timeless guardian of Brighton's theatrical spirit. At Theatre Royal Brighton, the curtain never truly falls on those who love the stage. 10. Osborne House. Perched gracefully on the Isle of Wight, Osborne House was once the beloved summer retreat of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. This stunning Italianate palace, with its elegant terraces and beautiful gardens, was a sanctuary for the royal family during the 19th century. But beyond its picturesque beauty, Osborne House holds whispers of the past, stories that speak of love, loss, and a deep connection between the living and those who have passed. Staff and visitors alike have reported gentle, unexplained phenomena: soft footsteps echoing through empty corridors, flickering lights in the private apartments, and the faint scent of lavender, Queen Victoria's favorite perfume. One of the most touching tales is that of Queen Victoria herself. After the death of Prince Albert in 1861, she spent many lonely days wandering the grounds, often seen talking quietly to his memory. Some believe her spirit still lingers here, watching over the house she loved so dearly. Caretakers have described seeing a figure in Victorian dress in the windows of the private rooms, a comforting presence rather than a haunting one. Osborne House, with its peaceful views of the Solent and its rich history, feels less like a haunted place and more like a home where memories live on. It reminds us that even in the grandest palaces, the echoes of human emotion, grief, love, hope, remain quietly intertwined with the walls. Visiting Osborne House isn't just a journey through royal history, it's a walk alongside the spirits of a family whose legacy still breathes within its halls.
11.
Cumm Hall. Tucked away in the peaceful Suffolk countryside, Cumm Hall stands as a grand testament to centuries of English history. This stately manor, once home to the Schiffer family, including the famous supermodel Claudia Schiffer's ancestors, carries with it stories of loyalty, faith, and lingering mysteries. Built in the 16th century, Cumm Hall played a significant role during turbulent times in England, especially as a safe haven for Catholic priests during the Reformation. It is said that secret passages and hidden chapels within the hall were used to protect those who faced persecution. Whispers of these hidden spaces still stir the imagination of visitors today. Over the years, many have reported unusual sights and sounds, footsteps echoing in empty corridors, doors gently closing on their own, and fleeting shadows seen just out of the corner of one's eye. But rather than fear, there's a sense of respect, as if the hall holds the memories of generations past, watching over the estate with quiet dignity. Claudia Schiffer has spoken about her family's deep connection to the place, describing it as a source of strength and history that continues to inspire. Cumm Hall reminds us that some places are more than just buildings. They are living chronicles of the past, where the present and history quietly coexist. So when you walk through its halls, you're not just stepping into a home, you're stepping into a story that spans centuries, filled with faith, courage, and enduring legacy. Cumm Hall is a place where history breathes, and the past is never truly gone. Thanks for watching our tour of haunted celebrity places in the UK. Like and subscribe to Creepy Experience for more spooky stories, and tell us which place you dare to visit.